Do you want to kill your opponent with toxicity for cheap? I'm talking about less than 200k per build, cheap, and you're probably going to get a lot of nasty messages in your whispers, but you are going to get a lot of wins as well, as you will see later in this video. Today, we're going to talk about the Lifetouch build because there was a new update released by SBI to Albion Online that made this specific weapon just so powerful. And I won't be surprised if they actually revert it to the previous version of this, but let us take advantage while it is available. So the skill that I am referring to really is a passive. The passive is the Ascended. It is a buff. The condition here is when you activate your weapon's second ability, which is your W abilities, any of this, it makes any and all of your casts and channels uninterruptible. So that is very important because it is for 2.5 seconds. That is very important because your Holy Touch, the E ability on the Lifetouch, is actually a channeling skill. It channels up to 2 seconds and it heals you for 136 every 0.5 seconds. And you can also use this for when you are stunned or silenced. And it also cleanses all crowd control effects and debuffs on you. And it's a really good Holy Staff build. And surprisingly, is somewhat popular in Stalker Corrupted Dungeons right now. So let's just go over the build. I'll walk you through all of the skills that you need to use. And basically, all of the strategies that you will need to have to implement in order to get a lot of wins in Stalker Corrupted Dungeons. So first and foremost, let's look at the Lifetouch. If you have watched my one-hand Holy Staff video guide for Corrupted Dungeons, it is going to be fairly similar in terms of like the concepts and all of it. But to those who haven't yet, let's walk through this with a fresh set of eyes. So the first is the Q ability is going to be Smite. Smite, if you don't know, is a targeted skill. A skill shot, actually. The Smite is a skill shot that deals damage, casts, boom, boom. All right. And 99% of your damage is actually going to come from the Smite for this specific build. And it is an AoE, but obviously in Stalker Corrupted Dungeons, you only have to hit your opponents. And there are two specific things that you need to consider when you are using the Smite. So when you first use the Smite, you will see a debuff on them. And that is the second effect of the Smite, which within the next 3 seconds, if you deal damage to your opponent with that debuff, they take extra damage. There you go. So that's an incentive for you to be accurate, right? And another incentive for you to be accurate is if you hit an opponent, it actually reduces the cooldown by significant. It says 50% here, but the cooldown is already at 1.7 seconds. So if you don't hit anyone, it cools down for the full 1.7 seconds, which again in itself isn't really that much. But if you hit an enemy, it cools down so fast, you can basically spam it like this. So again, this is going to be 99% of your damage. This is going to come from your Smite. So make sure that you're accurate with your Smite and take advantage of the damage. On your W ability, we are going to use the Holy Blessing. The Holy Blessing increases your armor by 80. Obviously, this depends on your specs. And healing received by 30%. Plus, it immunes you to force movement effects. But this doesn't really matter that much because we have Ascended. Remember, the Ascended is anytime you use any W abilities, you are going to basically be uninterruptible for 2.5 seconds. Since we already talked about the Holy Touch, so the combo is always going to be W and E. They actually have the same cooldown. So the cooldown on your Holy Blessing is 12.77 seconds on a Dust Hole Crab Omelet and 12.77 as well on the Holy Touch. So what you want to do is press Alt on your PC, on your keyboard, Alt W, Alt E. Look at that, 250, let's call that 250 heals per 0.5 seconds. And again, it cools down for 12.77 seconds on a Dust Hole Crab Omelet. Let's see that again. That's insane. We'll call that 1250 health, basically more than half of your max HP in 2 seconds. So it is almost immortal. Almost immortal. Okay. So with that being said, that's how you do it. You always use your W ability with your E ability. And since you're using your W ability with the passive, you're essentially have two skills. You have smite and then heals. That's all you got to do. Smite and heals. Okay. So moving on with the Hunter Hood. The Hunter Hood, you only really need tier 4.1 in this case, to be honest with you. You only need tier 4.1. And if you are using tier 4.1, it's going to be sub 200. But you can obviously add more, get 5.1, get tier 6 or whatever. Honestly, 4.1 is the minimum. You can live with 4.1. Doesn't really matter that much. Okay, but for the Hunter Hood, you are going to use the Retaliate on the skill. It increases your damage resistance by 55 for 3 seconds and reflects 85% of incoming damage as magical damage. And you also want to use the Balanced Mind. Now, before I explain that skill, let's move on to Assassin Jacket. Now, you can use Assassin Jacket for this one because other leather jackets do actually have different stats. This was one of the things that I was made aware of in my last video. You want to use the Assassin Jacket because of the heal cast. The heal cast bonus over here is 34%. So if we look at other mercenary jackets, let's just call tier 5. Tier 5 for mercenary jackets, the heal cast specifically in this one is 20%. It does give you more armor compared to the Assassin Jacket, but I think the heal cast bonus is 10% more heal cast bonus. I think it's more important than having 20 more damage or 20 more armor or 20 more magical resistance. So you may want to go with Assassin Jacket exclusively for this one. But for the skill on this, on PvP, it is going to be an Inferno Shield. You're not going to use Ambush. You are going to take advantage of the heal cast on the stats for the passive of the Assassin Jacket. But for all leather jackets, you are going to use the Inferno Shield for this specific build. And also with the Balanced Mind passive, similar to the Hunter Hood. Now, I kind of lied a little bit when I said 99% of your damage is going to come from Smite, because your Inferno Shield technically counts as damage. So your Inferno Shield has 8 seconds of duration. Your Hunter Hood has 3 seconds duration. So if you have an opponent just brawling with you, use your Inferno Shield, use your Hunter Hood, and sometimes when you can, use a defensive, especially when they're being too aggressive. Use one of the defensives like the Inferno Shield or the Hunter Hood, and then use your heal ability. What that does is it's going to make them stop attacking you because you have the Inferno Shield. And basically, even though you have the Ascended and you can full cast, it would be nice if you're not actually taking damage while you are casting your E ability. So this is how that would look like. You go Inferno Shield, Bless, and E. All right. That usually makes them stop attacking you. Or you can even go with the Hunter Hood, Bless, and E. Okay. So technically, you do get some damage output from these ones as well. So there you go. The 99% here was kind of a lie. The star of the show really here is the Sandals of Purity. This is the hover, and you go with the aggression passive to increase your damage and your heal cast by 3.5%. As I talked about in the previous video, your hover really is the one that makes this build work like it should. Without food, only with the offhand, it's 9.15 seconds cooldown. And as I said, you will hover for 3 seconds, increasing your movement speed by 60% and immunes you to roots and slows. So those imps, those desecrates, ray of lights will not affect you while you have this. So you just hover, it cools down as well. So every 6 seconds or so, you are basically going to be able to use your hover. Every 6 seconds, you get 60% movement speed, immunes you to slows and roots. And this even with just this mobility, it actually is enough for you to catch up, maintain distance, have the ability to normal attack them to keep them in combat, just because of the low cooldown and the 60% mobility on the boots. Another damage dealer is your Chain Lightning on your Thetford Cape. As you all know, Thetford Cape activates whenever you use your normal attack. Lightning, lightning, lightning. And it deals an additional 173 damage every 15 seconds. So make sure that whenever you don't see this cape cooldown icon on your status, just make sure to normal attack. Get that extra damage, because whenever you use your smite as well, and the next time your opponent takes damage, no matter what damage, either from smite or normal attacks or whatever, they take extra damage. So do that. Smite and normal attack. Make sure to use that combo. For the offhand, it's a normal offhand. It's a mist color just to help you with all of your cooldowns. You don't really have long cooldowns in any of your skills, but it does help to lower it a little bit more, especially with the hover. So that you can chase or you can actually kite a little bit more. For the food, this is a new one comparing it to my one-hand holy staff build. It is the Dust Hole Crab Omelet. Now, I have seen and noticed that when you're using this build, it actually uses a lot of energy. And this reduces the energy cost by 11.3%. It does work similar to how a pork omelet does, with cast speed and cooldown rate increase, but that's a lower number. So you get cast speed increase by 9.5%, cooldown rate increase by 7.56%. But the most important part here is the energy cost reduction of 11.3%. In normal builds, you will see the energy pots being used in most of the fights. I still think even though you can heal, you still want to use healing potions just in case you find yourself in a position where you don't have the heals. You have cooldowns on both of your W and E, and you don't have anything. You can use the healing potion as like a reserve. With this Dust Hole Crab Omelet, you no longer have to worry about your energy running low really, really fast because of the energy cost reduction on the food. So for the food, for the potion though, you want to use healing potion and a swap for energy pots, just in case you fight another holy staff and you really need the energy. Just in case you need it, you can swap to energy potion or healing potion, whatever you feel like. So that's basically it for the entire build. It is really similar to how the one-hand holy staff works. It's just that you now need to be aware that your W and E works together, and you no longer have the damage on your pulse. You no longer have the knockback on your W. Your W is just basically for heals now, and you get 250 per tick. And to those who are interested, you can look at my stats here. 50% or 50 for node, or 54 specs on the base, and I only have 11 specs on the node, similar to how my holy staff is. So you don't really need a lot of specs here. You do need at least 50 though. At least 50 for the Ascended passive, because it gets unlocked at 50. And also you need at least a tier 5 for your Lifetouch, because the Ascended is only available from tier 5 to tier 8. Okay? So enjoy the rest of the video. If you have any questions whatsoever, leave them in the comment section below. Be ready. Oh, it's the goodness. It's a frost. Oh my gosh, I just did that. Oh my gosh, 800k. He killed an imp. Am I dead? Am I winning? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, the bear trashed! The bear trashed! Oh, he's already gone? Bro, how's that even fair? How's this even fair, actually? And a mobility advantage, too? How's this even fair, bro? How's that even fair? It was close, but like, I was able to heal so much. It should really be for giveaways, no? Oh, look at that! Lucky me. No premium too. How is this even fair? How is that even fair? Uh-huh. You can't do that to me. Alright, I need to be more accurate with this. Will I die? Well. Shit. Oh. Missed my one opportunity. Why can I not hit anything? Okay. That's just not fair. GG. Wait, what? What is happening? I may be in trouble. I may actually be in trouble. I also keep missing my E. I mean Q. It just doesn't help my case, but... Oh. That doesn't help him too. That's for sure. Well, I'm so sorry. GG, sir. It is what it is. Just poison me? Smack yourself in the face. GG.